Hello, my name is Tylluan. I'm a solitary pagan witch. I'm an author and the founder of the Wolf and Howl Press, and I'm going to apologise in advance for the dogs snoring. They are quiet, they're not about to leap on me, but one of them is making a terrible racket. Anyway, today's little chat is about celebrating and creating rituals when we're housebound, when we can't get out and about. It does happen to people. It happens sometimes that some people are less able to get out and about, always, and some people have a bad patch. I had a bad patch this summer, which set me thinking about it. The thing to remember when you decide to create a ritual, yes, you may be able to do a little bit in the house. You can create an altar on a tiny little space, a space like that sort of size. You can create a little altar on that. You don't have to have a big fixed altar. Do it on anything. Do it on the back of a book if you want to. But what you do is something that is right for you. Nobody else has the right to turn around and tell you, no, you're doing it wrong. You've got to do it differently. You've got to find ways that work for you, especially if your mobility or your health prevent you from doing things in the way that you see others doing. So that's the first thing, you don't need much. Celebrate with birthday candles. They burn down quickly. If you haven't got much time to spend, use a birthday candle instead of a great big candle. I mean, that's a big one that's going to burn for some time, but you don't have to, You can use a little tea light if you've got a few hours, and if you haven't got that, use a birthday candle. Perfectly good. Stick it in a lump of plasticine or something like that. Be secure. Just stay with it while it's burning. So keep it personal for you. And if you don't feel you're doing enough, well then it doesn't matter. You can always look at it again and say, well, next time I think I'll put some plants out, or next time I think I'll write a little prayer or hymn of praise or anything. It doesn't matter. Write 2 lines. Write 1 line. It doesn't matter. It's yours. It's personal. And what you have to remember, and Mr. Penry told me this one, is that what you have celebrated always remains with you. So when you come to a new celebration, you are bringing with you, if you like, the mantle, the cloak, of all the other things you've done too. Now that, like many things in the craft, is a 2-edged sword. It could be all good that you have celebrated things in the past and you wish you could again, but never mind, because what you're doing now, you are bringing to it also the celebrations of previous years, yesteryear. But of course, on the downside, if you've done things you're not terribly proud of, you're bringing them with you as well. And this is why I always tell people, I always urge them to try and stick with a version of the craft that is clean as you can make it. I don't mean all fuzzy and sweetness and light, because none of us are like that. You've only got to look at what some of these bishops and archbishops and things, what they've been getting up to when it comes to light. You've only got to look at that to realise, well, people may say one thing and do another. They call it cognitive dissonance. You're thinking one way and behaving in a different one. Happens a lot. So we all do things that we may be less than proud of in later years, but we also all have the ability to wipe it clean, to try and say, right, I'm not doing that anymore. And of course, the more good celebrations you do, even if they're very small ones, the more good celebrations you do will wipe out the memory of the ones you did that were, what's the word? It's not that they weren't good enough, it's that perhaps they were a bit out of kilter. They were not really what they should have been. That perhaps we didn't wish someone well, or even just not wish anything. Perhaps we wished people ill. Nothing wrong with that if they really deserve it, mind you. I don't think so anyway. But there are times when you've really got to think it through, which is why in an earlier video I was talking about opening up pathways, asking yourself, what would I do? How far would I go? It's a very interesting question. In a way, it's It's the substance of a lot of great literature. How far will I go? You know, the hero or the heroine has choices. Well, in a book, you get from, you know, the beginning, the middle, the end. In life, it's not quite as clear cut. So we have to make these choices, and we have to try and work out what we will do, what we're prepared to do. But when we're celebrating, especially a ritual for the season, I think, it's nice to make it as clean as possible, as clean, as clear, as straightforward. We don't lose our focus. We don't start thinking about how our neighbour has annoyed us or anything like that. We just get on with thinking what the season means, what the ritual means. And that's why I always tell people, plan it out beforehand. Till you feel really comfortable with it, plan it out. A few little ideas and pointers. There's nothing says you can't have a little piece of paper with all your ideas written down so that you can work through them and tick them off as you go. Nothing wrong with that at all. You don't have to memorise it. Just get on with it. Just do something. And remember that what you've celebrated always remains with you. So even if at some point you can't celebrate, don't worry. Don't worry. The memory will be strong. The good that the earlier ritual did is still with you. And on that note, I'm going to say thank you very much for listening, and goodbye.